What is up, Yeet Nation? Welcome to yet another episode of Cowboys Talk. Today, I will be discussing the Cowboys' Week 1 victory over the New York Giants. So, welcome to this illustrious Victory Monday. Dallas wins a hefty 40-0 over the New York Giants. Week 1, their first time starting 1-0 since the 2019 season against the New York Giants. So that's pretty cool. Now let's just get the elephant out of the room. Defense was absolutely dominant for the Cowboys, and it is the reason they won the game. Now you might look at the score, 40-0. So you might think, okay, well the offense went crazy, but not really. Dak went 13 24, 143 yards. He threw no touchdowns, but he also didn't throw any picks, which is good because the media loves to run with the Dak interception thing. So I'm glad he didn't give him any more fuel to the fire. And as far as the rushing game goes, Tony Pollard had 14 carries for 70 yards, and he had 2 tutties. So that was really nice to see. And second string running back Rico Dowdle had 6 carries for 24 yards. And that is about it for the running game. Leading receiver was CD. He had 4 catches for 77 yards, including a really big one on the first offensive drive of the game after the... I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. Brandon Cooks had 2 catches for 22 yards. I was super happy with him. Pollard had 2 catches for 12. Turpin had 2 for 11. Jake Ferguson had 2 for 11. And Gallup 1 for 10. 7 sacks on the defensive side. Dorrance Armstrong had 2. Osa had 2. Micah had 1. Chauncey Golston had 1. And D-Law had 1 as well. Brandon Aubrey, brand new kicker. This is one of the things I was most concerned about going into this game because we had no idea how he was going to look. I mean, yeah, he was decent in preseason, but preseason, it's really not real football. So he went 2 for 2 on his field goals, and he missed his first extra point, but he made all of his other ones. He had 10 points. So yeah, I mean, defense absolutely smothering the Giants. They couldn't get anything going. So on the Giants' first offensive drive, they get down to maybe it was the 20, I can't really remember specifically, and the Cowboys force 4th down. Graham Gano for the field goal. It gets blocked, and new Cowboy addition Noah Igbenogany, that is a really tough name to say, picks it up and returns it all the way for a touchdown. Brandon Aubrey missed the extra point. It's 6-0. And I can't really remember all the drives like some football fans can do. Some NFL fans can remember drive per drive, play per play. I can't do that. I can just remember the basics, like the big plays. A few drives later, Daniel Jones throws it to Barkley. Barkley kind of bobbles it and goes up in the air. Deron Bland pick 6 the other way. And Graham Gano missed another field goal wide left. So the Giants had 2 opportunities to put points on the board with the kicking game and couldn't get it done. So it was 26-0 at the half. And the game was pretty much over at that point. They scored in the third quarter. The Cowboys scored 1 more touchdown, and then in the fourth they scored another one. And at that point in the game, Cooper Rush was in. He only attempted 1 pass. It sailed way over the guy he was trying to throw it to. They basically just handed the ball off a bunch of times to Deuce Vaughn. He only had 6 carries for 8 yards. Pretty disappointing, honestly. I was expecting Deuce Vaughn to do a bit more than that, but it's only 1 game. You never know. A few other complaints. The tight ends dropped a lot of balls, maybe like 2 or 3 tight ends dropped the ball. One of them would have been a touchdown in the end zone. So I was kind of disappointed about that, but I will give him leniency because it was a torrential downpour in New York. It was raining pretty much the entire game. So, onto the Giants side, Daniel Jones went 15 for 28, 104 yards, and he threw 2 picks. One of them was Stephon Gilmore. super happy to see that all these guys they got, like Brandon Cooks and Stephon Gilmore, showing up, showing out, making plays for the team. Barkley was a bit of a problem. He had 12 carries for 51 yards, but after the first quarter, they were mostly able to keep the big runs down. And Daniel Jones absolutely killed Dallas on the first drive as well with his legs. He got a couple first downs doing that, but eventually they figured him out and they were able to stop him. The Giants O-line looked terrible, especially Evan Neal, so he's probably a bust. It was kind of interesting with in the final 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. The Giants had all their backups out except for Daniel Jones. I don't know why Brian Daboll decided to keep him out there. Perhaps Jones wanted to go back out, but I wouldn't have let him because you're putting him in harm's way. Because in that final 5 minutes, he still got sacked several times. Offensive line was just getting blown up by the defensive line. Even Dallas second and third stringers were destroying that line. And Dak Prescott, of course, he has a 50% ownership stake in the New York Giants. They have not beaten this man since 2016. They're 1-7, or Daniel Jones is 1-7 versus the Cowboys overall. They're 1-6 since 2017. Only victory being that final week in 2020 when Andy Dalton was the starting quarterback for Dallas, and ultimately that eliminated Dallas from the playoffs. But it's really not too bad because obviously they ended up drafting Micah Parsons after that. So yeah, I mean, victory Monday, 40-0, starting off the season about as good as you really can, honestly. And next week, freaking Aaron Rodgers. He heads to our house. We better not let him win again. He cannot beat us again. I am going to be so freaking mad if he beats us again. He's not even on Green Bay, so we better not lose to this man again. And the Eagles won. They won a close one in a defensive battle over New England. Washington beats the Cardinals in an honestly close game. Arizona had the lead until late fourth quarter, if I can recall correctly. And then Washington finally took the lead on a Sam Howell touchdown run into the end zone. But, I mean, it's, Washington's still not good. Arizona is the worst team in the league. Most likely going to be the worst team in the league because they're going to be in contention for that number 1 overall pick. So, I mean, if even them were able to put up a fight against Washington, then I don't expect Washington to be very good. And I don't expect the Giants to be this bad all season either. If they look like this the next couple weeks, I would start to get really concerned. But I think this is a combination of the Cowboys just offense being that explosive and the rainy conditions just all culminated into the Giants playing one of their worst games in many years. And they have been a bad team for maybe about a decade now. And this is one of their worst games they've played in a long time. They were the only team to get shut out this week. And I saw a pretty crazy stat. They were the only team to lose 40-0, lose the sack battle 7-0 or worse, lose the turnover battle 3-0 or worse, throw a pick 6, and there was one other stat. They're the only team to do that in an entire. No team had done all of that in a single season. They did it in one game. So yeah, I mean, Dak Prescott, owner of the New York Giants, victory Monday. We're going to celebrate this all week. We got the New York Jets coming into town at 3:25. Should be a great game, but yeah, thank you for listening to my thoughts on this Week 1 victory, Yeet Nation, and I'll catch you Week 2.